Touchdown Bears! It's over at Soldier Field.
The throw of Caleb Williams' life. The catch of DJ Moore's life. What a scene.
What does it mean to get this one, DJ?
Man, it means a lot. And at the end of the day, it's after Packers always.
How about that for theatrics, Bears fans?
Fox 32 Chicago Sports. This is Chicago Sports Tonight.
All right, the beauty of the NFL where there's truly no offseason. Hey, everyone, welcome into Chicago Sports Tonight. Tina Lynn and Cassie Carlson with you. DJ Moore is now on the move. The Bears are trading him to the Bills along with a 2026 fifth-round pick in return. Chicago gets a 2026 second-round pick. Cassie, DJ Moore headed to the AFC, teaming up with Josh Allen in a reunion with Joe Brady. What do you make of this move here?
Yeah, really no surprise, especially coming off of the Combine and given the fact that DJ had his least productive season and he is about to be was going to be the highest paid Bear on the roster next season. And when you look at the wide receiver room and the direction they want to go, drafting Colston Loveland, their tight end, who was one of the most productive in the league last year, rookie Luther Burden, who's coming off a really good second half of the season, Rome Odunze, a former top 10 pick himself. The wide receiver room under Ben Johnson just seemed to be heading in a different direction. And there's so many other needs that this Bears front office needs to address now in free agency, and it clears up $16.5 million in cap space that they're desperately going to need at the start of next week.
One of those needs is trying to get an elite edge rusher. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But NFL free agency officially begins on March 11th. Things are already heating up. Let's dive deeper into this trade and bring in Fox Sports Radio's Carmen Vitale. Great to have you with us, Carmen. How are you?
I'm great. It's so great to have you guys. Look at this. Like three girls just talking sports.
Love it.
All right, we'll talk big picture, how this impacts the Bears' offseason plans in just a moment. But diving deeper into this trade, the Bears get a second-round pick, and of course, they free up some cap space. In terms of the draft, the Bears have 4 picks in the top 90 as of now. Carmen, are you surprised with this trade, and was this the right time for the Bears to move on from DJ?
I'm not surprised that this trade happened, right? Because as Cassie said during the Combine, we listened to Ryan Poles say a whole lot, like there's going to need to be some tough decisions that are made and this, that, the other. So I think all of us in that Bears media scrum were kind of like, okay, so DJ's gone. And it ended up happening. But what surprised me about this trade was the compensation. I really thought that DJ Moore's value in this market kind of capped out at maybe a 4th rounder, maybe a 3rd rounder. A 2nd rounder I thought was completely out of the question. And now the Bears have 2 picks within 4 picks, 2 of 4 picks in the 2nd round. That's tremendous value. I think this is a trade that you do 100 times out of 100, and it makes moving on from DJ kind of a little bit easier to swallow because he is such a locker room leader. I'm certainly going to miss his family being around. I don't know about you, Cassie, like his kids are running around all the time in the locker room, and it's really fun. But at the same time, this was one of the Bears' deeper positions that they had, and so because of that, they could afford to kind of lose from this room. And for as much as DJ meant to this locker room, on the field, I think they're going to be just fine, especially in Ben Johnson's scheme, which is so wide-ranging from what it asks from not only its receivers, but how much he likes to run the ball. You just had a plethora of talent there, and you could afford to part with some of it.
Well, back with the report early this morning where they were saying that they were sending DJ to Buffalo and they were going to get a mid-first-round pick, but they hadn't worked out the logistics yet of what exactly it was going to be. I was with you. I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
3rd, 4th round?
Yes.
But actually to see the 2nd round and to see DJ Moore going to Buffalo where he's going to be paired with a former MVP and Josh Allen, you feel like it's a win-win for both sides because the Bears have another high 2nd round pick that they're going to be able to have a difference maker in, best player available possibility, possibly package it into something else. We'll see in a couple days, maybe in a week. And then DJ Moore gets the chance to go be wide receiver number 1. And I think the reality for him in Chicago, he just wasn't going to be that guy in this offense.
Yeah, DJ Moore came to Chicago from the Panthers, part of that blockbuster trade that gave the Bears the number 1 overall pick. Ultimately, their quarterback in Caleb Williams. Cassie, what does this say, though, about the level of trust that Ben Johnson has with a Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, and Luther Burden, too?
Well, I would put the emphasis on Colston Loveland and Luther Burden because those are Ben Johnson's guys. It's no different of when they drafted Colston Loveland 10th overall last year, and everyone was like, wow, that seems like a luxury pick in itself. But it was Ben Johnson knowing what he needs for his offense to succeed, and it was ever since the bye week where Colston Loveland really became became one of the lifebloods of this offense. And we saw the connection grow with Caleb Williams and his rookie tight end. And we know that he's more than just a tight end, acts more as a wide receiver. And that just continued to flourish as the year went on. And that was Colston Loveland coming off an offseason and coming out of college where he didn't really have an offseason to train because he was rehabbing back from shoulder surgery. So now you imagine what he can do in year 2. And I think everyone loved what they saw from Luther Burden and just the similar play style that he has to DJ Moore. The ability to have run after the catch, the ability to be good in the screen game, backfield potentially. There's so much
play all over the formation.
All over the formation.
Yes.
There's so many similarities between those two players, and Luther Burden is cheaper.
He is. Honestly, the Bears wide receiver room now is one of the least expensive in the entire league. I think it's about 30th out of 32 teams. And when you have a young quarterback, too, that's on a rookie contract, that does allow you to maybe spend in other areas, whether that's replacing what I'm sure we're going to talk about here in a second in Drew Dahlman, their center, who has had the surprise retirement this week, or with getting an elite edge rusher like you mentioned, Tina. I mean, they now have a lot more cap space than we essentially thought they would going into this free agency. They could free up as much as about 31 million with one more move, which they've signaled they might already make, which is granting Tremaine Edmunds the ability to seek a trade. They release him even if they aren't able to get that trade done. That's a lot of money, about 13 million off the books. So now you're looking at 31 million of flexibility in that cap space, which is not something we thought the Bears were going into this offseason.
Carmen, who do you think leads this Bears offense now? Who's got more pressure to step up? Is it Luther? Is it Rome?
I think Rome is kind of that guy that you look at as that X receiver, right? Which is kind of by default the number 1 wide receiver. Yes, Luther Burden can play all over the formation, like Cassie was saying, and he can do so many different things. But when you're talking about that guy that you want Caleb Williams to go to, that X receiver on the outside that's going to go up and get those 50-50 balls, the big physical kind of guy, that's Rome Odunze. And I think that, he was brought in with Caleb Williams. They want that rapport to thrive. And now I also think there's just a really cool kind of mixture of guys that complement each other really well when you look at their skill sets, when you look at what they're really good at doing between Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and then, like you were talking about, Colston Loveland, who is like a receiver with how natural his hands are. It's why Ben Johnson loved him so much. It's why Ben Johnson wanted to draft him, because out of those multiple tight end sets, usually you have to kind of pull back on the receiver there and sacrifice a wideout. With Colston Loveland, that's not the case. You can still keep your options way, way open, and that's why Colston Loveland has become such a safety blanket for Caleb Williams, and I think will continue to be. But as far as a leader goes, I think this is Rome Odunze's room and perhaps his offense.
And I think he feels the pressure to become wide receiver 1, because we were standing in the locker room at locker cleanout, and he was so emotional about the way the season ended in the divisional round. And mind you, he had one massive drop at the beginning of that game that could have changed the entire result of that game if he was able to catch that ball and the Bears were able to score a touchdown on that first drive. And so I feel like Rome, coming off the season where he had a really strong season to start, looked like he was emerging as the wide receiver 1, and then got injured, and you saw that kind of impact how his play was, had a handful of drops in the middle and the end of the season. He feels the pressure of being a top 10 pick and knowing that he needs to step up in that room. And mind you, Rome Odunze is also not Ben Johnson's guy. I think he feels the need to prove himself and his play style to Ben Johnson. He was someone who, coming out of college, said he didn't believe in 50-50 balls, and he needs to go out there and be aggressive and show that that is the case in this offense.
He's got an opportunity to do so. DJ Moore was set to carry a $24.5 million cap hit in 2026. With the news of Drew Dahlman retiring, the Bears this week alone free up a total of $26.5 million in cap space. And of course, Carmen, you talked about how Ryan Poles kind of alluded that, they value DJ Moore, but if it was a time to really make a change and put this team in a good position down the road, it is now. How do you think DJ Moore will be remembered for his time as a Chicago Bear? Because he did come up in some really big moments for the Bears this past season.
Yeah, it's the catch, right? It's the catch. You don't have to elaborate on what catch that was. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
NFL moment of the year
against the Green Bay Packers. That was something it was tremendous to see. And we talk about the locker room guy that he was, and he was needed this year with a room that is so young. That was something that was needed. Was a veteran presence that could guide these guys, that could do everything that was asked of him on the formation. And that's something that I think will transcend, his time in Chicago. It's how this teammates will remember him. And then, I mean, I think Bears fans still, he was part of that trade that was this blockbuster trade. And it was something that gave Bears fans hope at that time, too. I remember, getting DJ Moore, everybody was so excited about that. He was so productive under multiple quarterbacks, even for the Bears. He's been productive for multiple quarterbacks, no matter where he's been. So now he gets to go and he gets to play with league MVP Josh Allen. And I'm happy for him. And I think that Bears fans will be happy for him, too, knowing that, hey, we're set here in Chicago still. It was great to have you. We're happy for you. Go be great. But just go be great in Buffalo.
Hey, at least it's in the AFC. I think,
exactly.
too, he's going to be paired with Joe Brady, who is the new head coach in Buffalo, and he was the offensive coordinator in Carolina when DJ Moore was playing there and had some of his most productive seasons. And so DJ Moore believes in the head coach that's there. So he's going to a good situation. I think his toughness is what is going to resonate with everyone when they think about DJ Moore. It's something that everyone wanted to emphasize when people were questioning if he was a diva, if he was happy, and everyone's like, no, this guy is the ultimate professional, shows up to work every day, goes out there and does his job. And DJ Moore himself, when they were going through all the wide receiver injuries towards the end of the year, guys like Jahdae Walker had to step up. He was the one in the locker room that was saying, it's on the receivers to know Ben Johnson's offense, and if you don't know it, you're not going to be on the field. And that is something that DJ Moore prided himself on. And it's something that Ben Johnson talked about at the Combine last week, saying that out of all the people on the roster and the offense and in that wide receiver room, DJ Moore knew every wide receiver position and what they were supposed to do better than anyone. And I think that speaks to the football junkie that he is, his passion for the game, and to be a good teammate, because he was also in the same token helping his teammates getting to know this offense as well.
We've got so much to talk to, and we've yet to even discuss, is this clearing space for Max Crosby? So coming up next here on Chicago Sports Tonight, the Score's Matt Spiegel joins us to share his thoughts on this trade. We break it all down for you next.
All right, this is kind of an underwhelming move for the Bills, who really need a number one type of receiver. To me, DJ Moore is not a number one receiver, and I think Chicago fans have seen this play out throughout the years, especially last year when there were so many low effort type of plays. He was essentially relegated to a number three type of role. With that contract, getting paid that much money, I think the Bears are ecstatic to be able to trade that contract away, and not only trade him away, but get a second round pick, which is extremely valuable in today's day and age. So I think this gets an A+ for Ryan Poles getting this move done and getting that contract off the books.
All right, back here on CST, Tina, Cassie Carmen, and The Score's Matt Spiegel now joining us in studio, fresh off his show with Lawrence Holmes. They're on The Score. You just heard from senior NFL writer for The Athletic, Ted Winder. You can watch the full interview on our YouTube page. Speaks, how about the Bears getting back a second-round pick for DJ Moore? Your thoughts?
It is a home run in terms of the assets that you were able to send away and bring back. You got all that money off the books, and you got a two? A two? I know you had to give up a 5, but you got a 2. That means there was competition out there for DJ Moore. Or Joe Brady was really excited to have that reunion. I love what Ted Wynn had to say. I think he's right. DJ's not quite a full-on number 1. And we learned along the way he wasn't a great fit for Ben Johnson. He just doesn't run routes that are precise enough and consistent enough to do what Ben Johnson needs that wide receiver to do. He's a great effort player. He's a badass. He's emotional. He's fun. He leaves a really good legacy in Chicago. But this is a terrific move by Ryan Poles.
But he emerges as wide receiver 1 in Buffalo because they're not huge fans of Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel. Like, none of those have played out. And since they traded away, I'm blanking on his name, Stephon Diggs. He hasn't had a true number 1, Josh Allen.
But it's a different system. It's Brady's system that has a lot more room for the kind of loose playmaking that DJ Moore fits best and that Josh Allen, frankly, fits best. So it might be great there. This is going to be the challenge for Bears fans. Let's say DJ Moore has 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns, and they go to the AFC Championship game. Do not freak out. Understand that the NFL is a puzzle. In a salary cap league, you got to figure out, can you afford $26 million for a guy like DJ Moore? And the answer is no. So the fact that they were able to get a two is amazing. You can't pay a guy $26 million when he's one of 3 wide receivers who had around 650 yards for this team. He's one of 4 wide receivers who had 60 or more targets for this team. That's not a guy you could pay $26 million to.
We got to meme that at some point for 2.
A 2?
For 2 there. That was good.
Seriously.
Carmen, do you agree with what Ted said about DJ Moore? Okay.
I honestly do, because, and you look at it, and he said Bears fans probably saw this play out. We did, because at the end of the season, who would you have said was the best, was Caleb Williams trusted receiver, number 1 receiver? The answer wasn't DJ Moore. And if that's the case, I'm with you, Speaks. He goes to a system that he's very familiar with and a guy that is familiar with him and his game. And he's always been productive. That's been kind of DJ Moore's superpower, right? Is no matter who's throwing him the ball, and that played out in Carolina very, very well, he is going to be productive for you. Can he be the only one that's productive for you? That's the question. That's a question now for the Buffalo Bills. That was never an issue here in Chicago because you had some other guys in that room that could step up and complement each other in different ways. There was a little redundancy with DJ Moore, I think, but now that he goes to Buffalo, I'm very interested to see if they're not done adding to that room, because at this point, I don't know that the relationship with Keon Coleman is anything that can be salvaged. Can you depend on those 2 as your top 2 wide receivers? I don't know. Even with the congruency with the scheme and everything like that, and Joe Brady, I still I'm wondering if Buffalo is done, or if they're going to go after one of those true X receivers that we want Rome Odunze to be, the guys that can go up and get the 50-50 balls, that can play on the outside, that are a little bit more physical, a little bit bigger. Are they going to go out and get a guy like that? Because if they do, great. If they don't, I'm weary.
So I don't think the Bears need the prototypical X receiver in this offense. I don't think that's really what Ben Johnson's all about. I think this offense is designed for Caleb Williams to throw the ball to the open guy, whoever that is. And that it's a much more
open.
But it's a much more egalitarian approach of like, find the open guy, throw it to him. And with that means you don't pay a number 1 wide receiver this kind of money. It's a very short list of who you do that for. I know I heard you guys talking in the first segment. I think the player that benefits the most from DJ Moore's absence is Luther Burden. These kind of designer targets, like the shallow screen or the tunnel screen or these kind of things where DJ Moore, just getting the ball in space, that's all going to be Luther Burden now. And he is built for that.
How do you feel about the wide receiver room without DJ Moore? And everyone's saying he was a luxury in that wide receiver room. But now if it's just Rome Odunze, who has yet to prove himself as wide receiver 1, and Luther Burden, and maybe they bring back a cheaper receiver like Olamide Zaccheaus, do you feel confident in that room?
Well, that room is very incomplete. They're now the 30th most expensive wide receiver room in the NFL at just $12 million. They're going to draft one. one that Ben loves. They're going to sign a free agent, one that Ben loves. And then we'll see what happens from there. Are we so sure he loves Rome Odunze? No, frankly. So we'll find out. I like Rome. I think Caleb loves Rome. And hopefully that will work and click. But my money's on Burden and Loveland and somebody who's not here to be the three biggest targets in this offense within a couple of years.
This draft class does have depth when it comes to defensive ends and wide receiver. The Bears have now cleared up $26.5 million in cap space this week alone, as you had Drew Dahlman there. His son in retirement clears up $10 million for them. Speaks. Is Max Crosby going to be a Chicago Bear? Let's get to this conversation now.
It's such an exciting moment. This is a day, your center just retired, and you just traded your wide receiver. And the Bears could end up better than they are this coming year because everything's on the table. Max Crosby's on the table. Tyler Linderbaum, the #1 center in free agency, is on the table because of the money you have now cleared up. And both of those things could happen. And like Carmi, you know this, like some of the national NFL most plugged in people are thinking, are the Bears going to end this week with both Tyler Linderbaum and Max Crosby? It's crazy.
It's interesting. And I'm probably not the person to talk to about this, though, because I'm looking at this team, right? And I'm looking at what they want their identity to be under Ben Johnson, the second year under Ben Johnson. As someone who followed him very closely in Detroit and followed his offense, there's one thing that was told to me over and over again about Ben Johnson by staffers that were on his staff when he first came to Chicago. They're like, if nothing else, Ben's going to score some points. And if Ben is going to score some points, which he's proved in the first year before this offense even had a chance to evolve, a chance to get better, for him to add to this offense, before all is said and done, this could be a 30-point per game average team. I think that's almost a certainty at this point. And if that's the case, then the way that you allocate and the way that you build this team, and as a daughter of Chicago, I'm shocked to hear myself say this, invest in the offense. You can get by with an average to good defense, one that only gives up 24 points a game, because if you're scoring 28 to 30 points a game offensively, then pour your resources into that side of the ball when you have, and don't mortgage the future for perhaps one of these elite pass rushers. I see your face.
I got to push back because with the pass rusher, you finish games. You go ahead and you get that lead, and then you unleash the hounds, and Max Crosby goes and finishes a game by getting the sack and the turnover, and you have a 2-year window of Caleb Williams on the rookie contract with the quarterbacks, and I think you can get both. I think this is a time.
Do you think you can get Linderbaum and Max Crosby?
I do.
For as expensive as Linderbaum is about to be, how he's going to set the market.
I think you could extend Cole Kmet. I think you could go with a rookie at left tackle. I think you could go with DeMarco Jackson and another rookie at the linebacker spot. Yes, hopefully Kevin Byard, but everywhere else is going to be cheap. It's going to be an imperfect roster, but such as the salary cap NFL, I do think they could do better.
So I think coming out of the combine, I actually felt more like the Bears were going to draft an edge rusher because of how deep the class was, and the asking price for Max Crosby was, which now I think we're starting to see they're probably not going to get what they want, which is a player and 2 first-round picks, which is why I think the Bears are now back into this conversation more because of the 4 picks they have in the top 90, where maybe it's a first and a second, or maybe it's a future first and this year's second. Suddenly, this makes them more in the game for Max Crosby, because I don't think the asking price, and this is what Vegas is finding out, it's not going to be two first-round picks.
I completely agree. And I think that added second, they got a 2 for DJ Moore, is a huge factor in the asset pile potentially for Max Crosby. Max Crosby's 29. He's not 26 like Micah Parsons was. He's missed some games over the last couple of years with injury. So I do believe that they're going to get a lot less than they want and a lot less than Dallas got from Micah Parsons.
Okay, so if Max Crosby was fully healthy, where do you rank him when it comes to defensive ends in this league? He's like 5th or 6th best to me.
Oh, I don't know if he's that low.
I was going to say I would go 3rd.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, maybe. Well, we need to see Micah Parsons after the injury.
Right, and Micah's kind of a hybrid and sort of a different body type. Aiden Hutchinson when healthy.
Yes.
I don't know if Max goes lower than 3.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's top 3. And my point in saying all of this, I would love, trust me, if we could get both, if the Bears could get both, absolutely get both. But my priority at this point is replacing Drew Dahlman, replacing what he means to this offense, because that engine does not go unless you have a veteran, smart, intelligent center that can work with Caleb Williams and operate this offense. You don't want to cut Caleb Williams' improvement and all of the stuff that he was able to gain this year. You don't want to cut that off at the knees. Literally, when you have him under center, under a center. And so I really think that whatever it takes to get Tyler Linderbaum, Speaks, I'm with you. You can afford a rookie at left tackle.
Yeah.
You can keep whatever you have in-house is okay at left tackle. If all the 4 other positions along the offensive line are solidified, you can afford to gamble with that position a little bit more like they did this year. But what you cannot afford to do is gamble with that center position. So whatever it takes, Tyler Linderbaum, guys.
All that to say, Ryan Poles is not done making moves. We need to take a quick time out here. Stay with us here for Chicago Sports Tonight. Back here on CST, final few minutes with you. DJ Moore no longer a Chicago Bear. They've traded him to the Bills. And Cassie, you've got a full show tomorrow on the offseason, right? Tell us more about it.
Yeah, we're having the Athletics' Dan Wiederer on and former Bears center Olin Kreutz. So no one better to talk to than about the retirement of Drew Dahlman and what direction they should go in free agency, which opens next Wednesday. It's going to be a fun show. You can catch it at 6 o'clock on Fox Local and the Fox 32 YouTube page.
Yes, guys, I feel like we could have kept going on about this.
We could.
But TV we're running out of time.
When you get 2 radio people on, you're going to get it.
All right. Well, that will do it for us here on Chicago Sports Tonight. For Matt Spiegel, Cassie Carlson, Carmen Vitale, I'm Tina Nguyen, and we'll see you tomorrow for the offseason with Cassie Carlson. Thanks for watching tonight, and have a great evening.